What's up, fam? Welcome to another edition of God Dreamers. Today, I have a special guest that's going to be talking about music and how to stay sane in the music industry. Many of you guys know that the music industry is a tough industry to be in for an artist, and in these times, it's been tougher because of just the way technology is and how you have to be, really good at technology to allow your yourself to grow using all the tools that are out there. So we have a Dillio today, and Dillio's going to he's an accomplished musician, producer, entrepreneur. He's got a YouTube channel that has thousands upon thousands of followers. And so he's kind of been through all the challenges and obstacles in terms of being an artist and how to be successful at it. And so, Dillio, man, welcome to God Dreamers, man. So glad that you're here today.
Glad to be here.
Sweet, 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 man. So we met a few months back. Well, actually, a couple of years, well, a year ago or so, with a mutual friend who's a fellow musician,
Yes.
and I had the opportunity to kind of see you in action, teach a class to some of the young men, and I was really inspired and actually impressed about your background and some of the things that you're doing. So share a little bit about what you're doing and what sort of those that are listening can kind of get an idea of who you are.
Yeah. Well, I am definitely a musician, an artist, and music producer first. And what I do is, I release music myself. I've just finished like my seventh out studio album, which I recorded here and put it out and promoted myself. Done shows with that. Also participate in a music for veterans program called Alchemy. Music Alchemy is a nonprofit organization that provides music therapy for veterans. And what we get together is we let the veterans, and what I do is I'm one of the coaches, and I help the veterans write their own songs, and I'll do tracks for them and help them get the songs recorded. And then I run a YouTube channel where I provide tutorials and mentoring, training, and options like that, and also where I sell samples and sound packs for different producers. So I do a lot of different things across that, and that's a sort of tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. So veteran. So are you a veteran?
I'm not a veteran.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get involved with that? That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that you did that.
So through that same mutual friend we had, another friend of his, which is also mine and maybe yours, was a veteran, and he was telling me about the program, and he was telling me about how they were looking for music production, and he put my name in the hat as far as looking for people who could do tracks. And the group liked the tracks that I did, and the veterans eventually used that track, and then once they finished that cycle, they say, "Hey, we're going to do this some more." I got the call, say, "Hey, do you want to be a coach?" And I said, "Yeah, I can be a coach." And so, really, it is through network is where the work and opportunity came from, because when you make when you make an impact on somebody by just bringing some good vibes to whatever that they're doing, or in our case, gigging and stuff like that. When something else comes up, they'll say, "Hey, I know a guy," and if you made a big enough impression on someone, you can be the guy that they know that refers you to it. And the opportunity worked out; it was a good fit, and that's how we made that work. So it was a friend of mine who we both know that is a veteran, and because he knew veterans doing a program, I just sort of got brought in and brought into that veteran community and was able to serve him that way.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. Yeah. So as far as music is concerned, I mean, how long you been doing this, and how did you get started in music? Are you a musician first? Or
Yeah, I was in music a long time. My official start, I would say, was 1996 when I was 14, because that was the time where I got my own first keyboard. My mom bought me my first keyboard. It was a Yamaha PSR 510.
okay.
And but I was kind of doing music before then, messing around with computer. There were computers in the house as a kid, so that helped. There were keyboards around. I had a cousin who was into music technology, and so I picked up from all of that, and that sort of put me in a position to really take to it and use it in a way. And that's how I got started. That's sort of been the thing ever since, and I'm still into it to this day.
Yeah, music has changed a lot from the time I'm a little older than you. Technology has definitely played, I guess, a really good role in helping musicians to be better. I mean, when I was coming up, I'm going to date myself. It was all analog stuff. I mean, all analog, reel to reel. No, very little. If computers would be very little computers, but mainly it was all reel to reels. We didn't even have. When I was in college, when we first had the first compact 4-track recorders, and so and so now everything non-linear, everything's computer based. Yeah, and the technology is out there. Even in terms of the record industry, before you had to have a record deal, with a major label in order to kind of get out there and be exposed and tour and so forth. But even that today is kind of gone away because you have technology, through the social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth. So how have you navigated with the ever changing music industry? I mean, because you've been very successful in terms of your setting up your YouTube channel. So how did that all get in place, and how did you get started with that?
Well, I was just around the right communities, as far as I starting on YouTube very early and just sort of kind of sticking with it. It took a lot of sticking with it. It took a lot of sticking with it through ups and downs because I didn't really, I mean, you could say I might have had a viral video or two a while back, but just because it was a viral video doesn't mean your whole life changes. For some people, what it does for me, it makes things work and things of that nature. And that was a big step to that. And that's how I built it. And with the music industry changed because before it's like you got to find a big label, you got to kind of put yourself out there like that. Where now it's about you building your own content and your own catalog of content and creating your own audience yourself. It's harder work to do that, especially if you're making adjustments. Like say, if your music career isn't providing for all your bills and things like that, you do have to humble yourself and work a day job, or in this day and age, do gig work. From the DoorDash to Uber, there's a lot of gig works now that out there that can help sustain you. But typically a day job not only is it a tool to help you survive, but it can also help fund your dreams and your goals. You don't have to give up on them. If you're working, you can still take that and use that to invest into what you really want to do. I think business owners probably do that all the time. If they want to open up a cookie shop or a T-shirt store, they'll take the income that they make from their day job and reinvest it, not just party and throw it on video subscriptions, but reinvest it into equipment and into maybe a plane ticket to go somewhere else to network or an event, and reinvest it and get you around different people. And with that, you then build your skill set up for that,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's how that's done. And even through the Veterans Project, I met a guy who's involved in the Grammys, and now I'm able to get involved with the Grammys because of that connect, you know. So it's different. And one of the things I could say that's been a big help for me is that you really got to focus on your own self. It's very
Mhm.
easy to look around on social media platforms and just see how much more successful everybody is.
Yeah.
And the thing is that what you're seeing is only everybody's highlight reel. And a lot of times people are really just trying to sell you a product or service. So they're going to make things look really good. And while you're dealing with the full picture of yourself, you're only seeing a partial picture of their lives. That's why it's important to build consistency and also just focus on only outdoing yourself. So if you only have 10 videos out on YouTube or TikTok, then your goal is to have at least 20 by the end of the second month, and then maybe 30 or 40. And by that time, now you have a body of content that the algorithms can find your stuff and share it to more people. Now you're building an audience from the ground up. And it's
Yeah.
just hard work. But a lot of people barely get past the point of being brave enough to say, oh, I'm afraid of being on camera. Oh, I'm afraid of how I'm going to say, oh, I don't look a certain way. I don't sound right. I need somebody else there, or I don't have fancy equipment. And what happens is they kind of use those things to put a roadblock in front of themselves from just starting on that journey. But what I can say is from creating content, large companies send me software for free now to try out, to demo, to do content with. Some people have sent me equipment for free, expensive piece of equipment that
Wow.
I would have had in a million years. Back when I was first starting, I was like a kid and I didn't have money to buy expensive equipment. And at 12 years old, it's hard to negotiate a parent spending 2 or 3 grand on a piece of equipment that you don't know if you're going to use or not.
Yeah, true.
So in that stage, it's a funny it's kind of like a funny circle, whereas as a kid I was begging for equipment and stuff. Now people are giving it to me because of the body of content and the value that I've brought and shown improve over the years.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, I guess the good news is that the power of the power has been given back to us, the artists, because in the past we didn't have that power. Pretty much we were at the mercy and the beckoning of the record label, which dictated what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, right? But now you have at your full you have access to a whole lot more. I mean, yeah, you got to work at it. I mean, you got to put forth the effort. You got to kind of put your entrepreneur hat on, but really, there's no limitation as far as what's out there and with creative ways to get exposure. So that. The good news is the tools are there that you can do it. You just got to do it.
Yeah, consistently. Yeah.
That's cool that now that you've kind of been building your content, that companies are reaching out and giving you gear, because I guess the bottom line is now you're in a situation where you have many followers and you're an influencer. And so, companies now are coming to you, which was just really cool. Before, like you said before, and they didn't give you a time of day until now that you have, folks that you're influencing. And they're like, "Hey, I want to be a part of that too," and sell more gear.
That's it. That's exactly how it works. And it's just been an interesting ride. And then there's still places I have to still reach for. I still have to grind for. I still have to reach for it and to do. And that's just a very important thing right there.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process. I mean, I'm an artist. Well, yeah, I'm an artist as well, and I have some things that I've released in the past. Um, and there's been a lot of challenges, and sometimes self doubt, sometimes wondering whether I continue to do this. What have been some of your challenges? Some is being an artist, and in this whole process, this whole adventure in music.
You said the challenges is just consistency. The real life challenge that I deal with is the get up and get back to work after you just came from work. Get back up, get back to work and pursue your dream after you just spent eight hours of the day working hard and daydreaming about your dream, and then now you're home on your time, and now you got to take care of life, and then continuing to push on in that point. And I think it's very important because it's very easy to get complacent. Say you find a good job, your bills are paid for. It's very very easy to kind of say, okay, I did everything I was supposed to do, while you still have these other goals that you're trying to achieve. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. The second biggest challenge is, I think, is the comparison. It's very easy to compare yourself in this very visually driven environment from the internet with the phone, social media. Very easy to get caught up in images and and it's very easy to make the mistake of not thinking that what you're doing is good enough because it doesn't look like somebody else's who's very successful. So it's very easy to get caught up in that. So those are a couple of challenges you got to kind of that you have to overcome on a daily.
No, I was just saying that everybody, when you look around in social media, you see everything's so polished and so well produced, and you're wondering, man, am I really good enough to really present this stuff out there? But like you said, you just got to do it, because out of all the people that are out there, there's somebody out there or a group of people that like what you do. They just don't know it yet, and they don't know about you yet. So you just got to put it out there and let God work out all the other things, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. There are people who like you for who you are and what you do, how you do. There are going to be people who gravitate to yourself, and if you never make contact, you never get those people a chance to discover you.
Enough said.
That's a big thing.
That is a big thing. I'm dealing with that myself right now. Just I have some stuff that I've been producing at home, and been hesitant on putting it out there, because of that same reason. It's like I listen to everybody else's stuff and I'm like, man, this stuff is really good, man. But I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I'm just going to be steadfast, and like you said, you're not going to please everybody, but there's probably a group of people that will love to hear what you're doing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Do it anyway is a big step. You do it anyway, you are ahead of the game. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to do it I can't put it any better. It takes a lot of doing it anyway to get to another level of it, because if your level is that you don't have any content on, you have to do a lot of doing anyway till you have about 10, 20, 30 videos done under your belt. And at that point, you're still gaining skills, because you're going to develop a skill to edit. You got to develop a skill to build all those things. So that's important too.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about a little bit of faith. How has your faith kept you from giving up? God Dreamers is about really helping people to find their purpose, their God given purpose, and also, using their faith in God to kind of navigate through some of the challenges in life. So how has your faith have been, keeping you from giving up?
Yeah. To answer your question about faith, I think faith, that is a steadfast thing. You have to focus on things, hope for that you don't see. There's a lot you don't get to see in the midst of, and being a content creator can be a lonely path, because you may not have too many people who are as interested in it as equally as you are. So you have to have faith in yourself and have faith that God has something more for you. The scripture shows you that. The scripture says your guests will make room for you. And I know that because I just had a synchronicity today, right? So I'll give you a funny story that I posted. So back in high school, talking about gifts and room and being brought before great men, right? So in high school, they would have these honor roll parties for honor roll students, right? And I wasn't quite the honor roll student. I did not make the cut. And there was a nice party they were throwing, pizza, cake, stuff, only for the honor roll students in this nice gym. But they had to call on me to come in and DJ and take care of the sound and speakers. And here I am in the same room with the honor roll students, not making the honor roll, but because of my skills and talent, I'm right there next to them having that pizza, and I'm right there next to them having that cake, and as if I was honor. Make sure. Fast forward to November 15th, 2022. The main staff of the whole school district, the ones who call the shots, the people in the nice office buildings are having this Thanksgiving party. And all the techs in the district aren't at this party. But guess what they called on to be right there at that party? Yours truly. So I'm in a room full of the adult honor roll students, right? And I'm right there having a nice Thanksgiving dinner right then and there, even though I wasn't staff. I'm still a contractor. But I'm eating with staff. I'm in the presence of the people who call the shots, the people who write the budgets, because of my talent and skills. Because I could have been just a regular tech out there in the field, left out there to the schools to do the work. But they called me in. And it reminded me of when I was back in high school. Sometimes, and you got your professional world where it's very linear and structured. You got to, you go to school, you get your certifications or you get your degree, you get the right grade, boom, boom, structured. There's still a process there. I'm oversimplifying that. But then inside of the creative realm, it's not necessarily the grade you make. It's about your network. It's about your talent and skills that can't quite be quantified. What if I was all this talent? What if I was this talented, but I wasn't a pleasant person to speak with? If I wasn't articulate, if somebody came into me with something that they made a mistake and then I responded, act them negatively in a way. If I didn't have good personal skills, then we're going to let James stay. We're going to let Dillio stay over there because, we kind of get uncomfortable when he's around.
Yeah.
And those are life skills that aren't necessarily taught, but picked up on and learned. And I'm still a student of that. And that's sort of ties into the whole faith thing, because, some people can look at me and say, man, you're doing a lot for these people. Why are you doing so much? But I got faith that something might come out of this. God might be trying to do something that I don't see.
Yeah.
Because he's done that before, but he had to take me through something that didn't look right and didn't look right to others. Mm-hmm. And then after you go through it and you don't know, it might take a while. And you go through it and now you're on top. Now you working and your pay rate change because you shown them what you can do after you got your foot in the door. So that's where faith comes in, where you got to take time to say, okay, something might be in the works here, because something might be there. It's something you can't really quantify in the words, but you know that something better is going to come out of it. That's where faith is.
Yeah.
I've been shown before that my gift has made room for me, and sometimes my gift don't make room for me when I want it to, but it has. It's put me in front of people, not because I got the plaques on the wall or the degrees, but because of who I am, what I'm capable of, and what I sacrificed at home to develop and build. What I learned from being a driver, learning about customer service and working in churches and being a good customer service. And now that I'm back in the corporate field, I may not have all the dots behind my name, but they still come to me for knowledge and information because I can relay it to them in a way that they can understand. I can take complicated things about all this stuff and put it in a way that they can understand, so that they don't feel. But a lot of them say, "Oh my God, I feel so stupid." And you gotta be able to say, "No, no, you're not stupid." You know, it happens to everybody. You gotta help them land back on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so that's sort of a little bit of how faith ties in.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, man. Because I think, like you said, the skill set, your skills, your abilities, the things that God has kind of endowed you with, it's your responsibility to help grow them and improve them. Like I said, the word says, "Study to show thyself approved." A workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So basically, that period of time where you enhance your skill sets and you work it and you and spend the time, because ultimately God will open the door when the door needs to be open, right? And you need to be ready to be able to walk through that door. It's almost like with David. David worked in the field, working with the sheep. It was not a glamorous job, right? I mean, as a matter of fact, all of his other brothers were doing, having a good time, and he was out there tending sheep. But in the midst of that time, he was preparing himself, right? And so when the door opened, when Goliath came there, he was ready because he already went through the hardships, he went through the challenges, and he knew what he knew because he spent the time studying and getting better. So when God opened the door for the opportunity, boom, he walked right through it, and next thing you know, he's king of Israel, right? he was. I would say that he did not think that he would be the king of Israel, right? I don't think he had his eyes on being the king, but God opened that door up for him. And so for us, we have to be in that same position where we need to prepare. We need to kind of, enhance our skill sets, and just trust God that when that time comes, you will be ready to open up, that door will open up for to, be in places that we've never thought we would ever be. Right. So, and like you said, working with the honor roll students, you were not an honor roll student, but yet God opened the door that you be right in the midst fellowship and hanging out with them. Right. So you're reaping the benefits too, right? So that's good, man. That's good. So what about some of the things that you're doing right now? What are some of the things that you're endeavoring on right now, in terms of your music and so forth? And,
Right. So I'm really sort of just kind of experimenting and doing work for other people right now. So I got a client that needs stuff mixed and mastered and maybe produced and sung upon. So I'm in the midst of doing that. We're taking a break, kind of like a fall break from the Veterans Music Project. And we're gonna actually get back up in December. I thought we were gonna wait till January, but no, we're gonna get right back into it. And back into content creation. And one of my things is for me, and you probably can relate to this. Like, it's very easy to kind of sit at home. You're in your office and you're browsing Amazon and you're looking at stuff online. And you like, you get kind of sitting there and you're thinking about, man, I want to get, maybe I should go ahead and get that. And I should go ahead and buy this, because a lot of times it's very easy to just buy stuff. Not necessarily like really expensive stuff. Sometimes you just buy stuff, just kind of, it helps, and you can draw inspired from. And so one of my commitments is like, instead of buying equipment or saving up for that, let me finish and complete musical works, like finish songs. I got everything I need. I have more than I need, yet I still browse and dig for more equipment and more sounds. So it's like, you know what? I need to stop that, hold on to the money, and actually create stuff. Like, give myself a chance to do like 20 songs, and then invest again. So that's sort of kind of the phase I'm in right now. You copy? I don't know.
No, I hear you, man. I am in that same boat. I've been buying gear and tools and software, and then and I'm kind of guilty, but because I have about probably like 600 song ideas, and my friends come over here, they're like, "That's ridiculous, Todd. Why do you have that many? You need to do something." And so, yeah, you're right. I think I need to, like you said, to stop, develop what I already have. I have all the tools, all the necessary resources to make it happen. And so, like you said, just gotta just do it and stop spending money. So I've stopped spending money. I'm done with that. I know my wife would be happy about that too. So what's next for you, man? What's in the horizon?
The horizon is to continue to finish more bodies of work, pursue film and television music synchronization, opportunities. To really focus more on a network than on equipment. So going to more events. I got like a producer competition coming up
Okay.
December that I'm going after. Some networking opportunities that I'm seeking out, and getting more focused on pursuing sending music out for film and television, that sort of a deal. And paying my dues for that. That's something I've struggled with for a long time because of the rejection that comes from it. And for me, the biggest hurdle is doing it anyway because imagine like knowing that you're really good at something and then there's a whole aspect you're not good at it at all. So you don't have that confidence, you don't know the process, you don't know how long it takes. So you kind of try it and then you kind of step back. But then if you ask me to make a beat, I could slam it out. But there are networking and stuff that I got to do outside of this room that I got to focus on more on. So that's in the horizon now is adapting and adjusting, saying, okay, these are where I need to improve at, and that's where I'm going to improve.
That's good. So, any words of encouragement or recommendations for inspiring producers and artists that you would have for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best encouragement I can give you is to say that you are good enough. You are enough. What you're doing is enough. Continue to create. Learn how to make a catalog of work that you've done at the level that you're at. So if you don't have a catalog of that is set aside not just for you, because I know as a beginning producer sometimes we got these tracks we set aside and it's just for us, but learn how to create a catalog that has the intention of it being shared with other people to show people what you can do. When you have a catalog, it's like a catalog. Let's put it this, a resume for a corporate person getting a job is equal to a music producer having a catalog of work to trying to sell beats, right? So I would say be encouraged. Know that what you're doing is good enough. Somebody likes what you do, and if you keep believing it's not good enough, you're gonna be right. But if you change your mind, say, this is good enough. Let me finish a catalog of work. Have that ready to go because opportunities will come where people want to know what else you do and what else you got. So in the meantime, I heard a passage that you could present to people, and I think that's probably a little bit of a word of encouragement right there. So just know that what you're doing is enough. Go for it. Focus on your catalog of work, and get in the habit of building and get in the habit of archiving and organizing your beats. Just don't have them sitting on a hard drive. Have a folder set up just for this purpose, so that when it's time to say, "Hey, what do you got?" Here you go. You know, or you'll find somebody that has something and you can go to them and say, hey man, I need you to check this out, because the time to be ready is not the time to get ready. So if you don't got much going on right now and you're starting out, great. This is a great opportunity to get ready without distractions, because imagine trying to continue when you got stuff coming in. It's a little harder.
Yeah, for sure.
Distracting. So that's a little bit of word encouragement.
That's good, man. That's good. So, how can the audience find more about you? Where can they find you?
Oh, they can find me on YouTube.com/Dillio T2K. I got remix, live streams, tutorials, and reviews on there that you can use to help you make decisions on equipment. And you can check out some of my music and also catch me making beats live.
Yeah, and I've checked out some of your live processes and your workshops and your live sessions, and they've been really good. I've chimed in on a few of them.
Good. Yeah, I saw you. I appreciate it.
It's good stuff, man. So but thank you so much, man, for hanging out with us today on God's Humans, man. I appreciate what you do, and just thank you for the time to share a little bit about what you're doing. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, good, 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 good. All right, folks. Well, if you have any ideas or if you know anyone that's doing some great things in the community, and you want to share the story, please let us know. Reach out to us through social media. We love to hear more about what you're doing and how God is working in your life and making a difference. So until next time, you guys take care. God bless. We'll see you.